jump in. We're going to talk some Broncos stuff. Besides that, guys, if you want to do me a favor, just go over and help me out. Come over here to, X and subscribe or follow. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. Come help us out, guys. And then go check out Goonsville. I'm always rocking the Goonsville. Go check out Goonsville. We're going to jump right into this interview with Cory, all right? So without further ado, here we go. Cory, how you doing, man?
What's going on, dude? How you doing?
I'm good, man. It was a little rough start there trying to get that going, but I'm rusty with the producing, so I'm slow with the clicks and loading things up. So I'll get better with the producing.
I wish I could say it gets easier, but man, it's the behind the scenes stuff, and I think that's what people have to understand sometimes, especially when you don't have your own producer and you're kind of doing it, as a team or by yourself. It's tough, man.
Absolutely. Just trying to figure out your openings, your intro, little videos, all that stuff. And then while trying to be ready for what you got to say on screen, it's a lot goes into it. And we only get better with each time. I've seen you guys just keep getting better and better, all of you guys. And I love what you guys do over there, with talking AFC West. You guys all have different personalities. You all kind of mingle real well. I love the vibe there. And I got some questions for you, but I just want to know how's your day going, man? You're my first guest today.
Yeah, it's good. We tried to golf today, and the heat index was 123. So I don't advise people to try that. It wasn't fun. I mean, the first few holes were enjoyable, but the heat set in, and we regretted our decision immediately. So, but outside of that, man, it's been a great weekend, and we're that much closer to the start of football.
Absolutely, man. It's hot as hell here in Vegas too, man. Literally, when I was at work the other day, I had to call the paramedics on this 78-year-old woman who was collapsing in the heat. It is that bad. It's 115 right now. We had a little AC, worries earlier, just worried that it was going out, but it's fine. So we got lucky. Sadly, we won't be the only person in this city who has an AC go out. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, no, this time of year, it's tough on some people. So, yeah, take care of yourself. Make sure you get hydrated and stay safe.
Yeah, keep your water around, When you're out in the heat, you're supposed to drink a certain amount of water for every hour. You want to do that.
No, go ahead, man.
Oh, all right. Right on, man. Yeah, so we'll get into our questions. I just wanted everyone to know we're going to pull up West Swim Rival. So everyone can go over there and subscribe. It would really help out because you guys do great work, and we'll pull up the page right now.
We appreciate that.
Everyone knows what they're looking at because you guys are on your way to 1,000.
We're creeping there, and again, it's been a chaotic, kind of crazy. Probably, I'd say 6 weeks for us. It started a little slower, but now it's kind of it's gaining traction, and it's crazy for us right now. And we really do appreciate everyone and you for getting the word out there about the show. We couldn't imagine being where we're at now over the last few weeks. It's just been crazy.
Yeah, and I don't think there's many shows out there where they get into their own divisions. They get all these creators that really talk like that. I think you guys are one of the first real big platforms out there doing that.
Yeah, I know there's a handful, but just from the feedback that we get, people say ours is a little bit more unique because, yes, we obviously are fans of the teams, but we actually let the other guys, talk about their teams too without kind of just cutting them off. And, the banter and the crap talking's there. We value each other's opinion. We want everybody, to be a fan, rep your team. That doesn't mean you can't keep the rivalries going, with some friendly banter, which is what our show's kind of built on.
Absolutely. I got this fantasy league I'm in. It's my first time playing fantasy. And we got a Chargers fan in there, 3 Bills fans, a Seahawks fan, a Colts fan. So it's all over the place. But these Chargers fans, they're talking about just wanting to get anything over on me, whether it's stealing Bo Nix from me or Jalen Waddle. They just think that I'm going to get emotional because it's my first draft. And I'm learning that I'm not going to get emotional and just lean into Bronco players just because I want to.
I've done that before. It's not always good to do that. I've learned the hard way. But again, at the same time, it's fantasy football. Have fun with it. That's the whole point of it is, we do have some friends that we play with that do like to draft their favorite players, like their favorite teams, and it's just at the end of the day they don't really care. They just want to be able to enjoy watching their favorite players and teams play.
Absolutely. So guys, go subscribe on West War Room Rivals on YouTube. You guys are also on Twitter. You're also on some other platforms, right? You're on Instagram,
Facebook, TikTok. TikTok's actually we've been gaining a lot of followers this weekend. We have a couple posts up there that have kind of taken off a little bit too. So yeah, we're absolutely on TikTok. It's at West War Room Rivals for all of the socials.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah. If anything I've learned is I've come to neglect the TikTok and put more little into all the other ones, but I think it is a balance. You come to learn how to balance them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice because we have, there's 5 of us. So we kind of each take a social. My brother, Austin, who's a Chiefs fan on the show, he takes care of the X page. And then Ethan's kind of taking care of the YouTube, and then Cody with Instagram, Facebook, and then obviously I do the TikTok stuff, but we try to make sure that we're posting everything simultaneously. That way we don't get far behind, because I mean, like you said, it does. There for a little bit, we were neglecting some of them, and the numbers showed too. So once we finally stepped back and kind of got a game plan going, it kind of helped with the socials.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to pull this down, but before I have you leave, I'm going to pull it back up, and we'll make sure to remind everyone again to subscribe. All right, so we're going to get into these questions, but if anyone has any questions for Cory, drop them in the chat, and we'll pull them up while we got them. And you're welcome to stay as long as you need, man. I'm not going anywhere for at least 24 hours. So
yeah. So how many times is this now?
4. It's just the first 2. I went for 24 hours consecutively, and YouTube didn't let me upload them. So this last time I learned ended at 12, and then just go back live and just keep going, because then it'll last me 12-hour increments. It'll load up.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. So I do have one quick question before what's the key to making it to 24 hours? Like, what do you do?
So what I've learned is you got to be able to sleep a lot. So like I work 4 days a week. I went down to part-time, so I'm losing money, but I wanted to make sure I could have Saturday, Sunday, Monday for the channel. Those are the biggest days. If you want to make a sports channel work, you need to have those weekend days, and especially Monday.
Absolutely.
So I needed that, but so how I figured it is, you just get a big sleep in, like get like 8, 9, 10 hours in, wake up, get a few things done, and then if you can, squeeze in one more nap if possible. And then the Red Bulls help, but I'm going to try to do this one with only one Red Bull. I'm going to try my best just because this is the final one for the off season. Yeah. I'm not going to be I'm not sure how many of these we'll get during the season, because I'm going to be trying to lock in on my content and my producing, everything behind the scenes. It's a little overwhelming to learn at first, but I would say that definitely rest, good hydration, so plenty of water. After every 2 hours or so, I make sure that I take a 5-10 minute like intermission, or be right back screen, whatever it is. So I go to the bathroom, stretch the legs, go feed the animals, go cook some food. Food's a big thing. You want good food, not junk food. You want actual meals. And then the worst part is towards like hour 15, 16, studio lights get a little glaring. So like all these extra monitors, I keep these off now because I know what's to come. Like 12 hours from now is they'll get a little glaring staring at all these screens. So when it gets to the dead of night, I learn to dim some things down, and I just find a way to keep myself awake. But it's not that bad. You just good hydration, extra sleep. Guests help. It keeps the ball rolling. Great people in the comments, like Martin. Martin has been like around with us for a good few streams now, and he just shows up in the dead of night and just keeps the ball rolling. He's my Robin to my Batman. If I am the Batman hanging out late at night, he's my Robin right now. So, he just said that he caught your channel the other few days ago and subscribed, and he said, you're right, all respect to each other. You guys don't even like their teams, even if you don't like their teams. Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Martin. Yeah, I mean, the show's based on, we want to keep the rivalries going, but we also want to respect everybody to get their own takes in there for their teams, because it's not just, the Broncos for this. It's, Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders. That's kind of the whole point. And now that people are kind of starting to see what it's about and what they're doing, they're buying into it a little bit more. So we're hoping to keep, the fan bases going at it a little bit respectfully.
Absolutely. So I'm curious. Oh, here we go.
There he is.
Awesome, man. I'm glad that I have him in the chat right now, man. I just love seeing what you guys do. Again, it is very unique. There may be some other channels out there, but you guys are making it your own, and that's what makes it cool. You guys are really claiming it and making it your own.
Yeah, and Austin, that's Austin. He's the one who takes care of all of our X posts. He's the Chiefs fan of the channel. He creates a lot of the graphics that you see on our pages too. So, shout out to Austin.
That's awesome, man. Austin, great to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. So we're going to get into these questions, man. But Martin, if you have questions, drop them in. Austin, if you have questions, maybe you can put him on the spot. That'd be fun. All right. So right now, any sleepers for the Broncos, offense, defense, anyone that like maybe the media's not talking about? Who do you think is someone that we're going to be talking about towards like week 12, saying, wow, this guy has really came out of nowhere?
Yeah. So I actually said a couple weeks ago, I know everyone's down on RJ Harvey, but I'm not one of those. He's a guy that you can stash, right? Because we just don't know with JK and what's going to happen. I know I'm as big a fan of Jonah Coleman as anybody, but is he going to get into Sean's good graces? Because we know Sean's going to, want to make sure that he understands what he's doing. And look, it's year 2 for RJ. This could be a big leap for him. We saw what he can do in the passing game. So again, fantasy purposes, PPR, he would be a great running back to have, especially later rounds when, the receptions, and the touchdowns, right? So we know he can find the end zone. So I really do love RJ Harvey, and I'm also putting Evan Ingram on the watch list as well.
Yeah, if you can get a little bit more out of Evan, everyone's not. No, I don't think anyone is expecting 1,000 yards. We just want 7, maybe 8. We just want something.
And he has that. And he has that explosiveness. We saw the explosiveness in some of the plays last year, right? Mm-hmm. And with the addition of Jalen Waddle, which I think is going to be huge for this, because now it's going to open up that middle of the field a little bit better for Evan. And let's see what Davis Webb can do. He's going to have an athletic tight end that he can put in good spots. So, I know last year was disappointing, and we understand that, but I think we need to, let Davis Webb run this offense and see what he can do with Evan Ingram.
Absolutely. And again, with RJ Harvey, I think he's perfect. And if you want to go for him fantasy, I'm excited to hopefully see if he can drop to me in one of those, not so early, but, he'd be a great snag. And, one thing I think with RJ is that, he is perfect for being this probably another, he's going to have, he had like 12 touchdowns last year. Yeah. I could really see 10, 11, 12 again. But I could also see him being a full 1,000-yard multi-purpose back, just 500 plus receiving, 500 plus, out the backfield, running the ball. I think he's going to be a better runner this year. People forget that he was a quarterback that made the transition in college. So he's a young runner. So, learning the run up the middle probably isn't easy in college, let alone trying to figure it out going into the league is not that easy. If JK gets 17 games, Denver, absolutely. We hope that JK gets 17 games. I still think they can make it happen, even if he doesn't. I just hope that if he goes down too early, because I've been on this train that, I'm a Jonah Coleman fan. And I've been on this train that, if JK goes down early, maybe like really early, then maybe you do see, they just give it to RJ just because of, Jonah being young. But maybe ideally you hope that maybe it's a little early enough, like, and this is weird that we're predicting injuries. No one wants to predict a week that this feels nasty. But I'm just saying that ideally, if it were to happen, maybe like weeks 5, 6, 7, maybe then you got Jonah's, wheels underneath him. You get him going. I would love to see that. I just don't know how long JK can stay healthy. I love what I had Mario on, Mario Vittanzi. I had his interview. We were talking about Bo Lowry and the work he's done. Maybe that might play a factor. Is another year with Bo Lowry, trying to figure out the JK experiment. Maybe that's the thing, is a good medical, staff that can try to figure it out. I just don't expect it because there's nothing to say it will happen. But because of that, I think that hopefully RJ can stay in that permanent RB2 role for him to truly succeed. And yeah, if anyone wants to cringe, there's that name, Joker. But yeah, it's RJ. If it's anyone, it's RJ.
Yeah, and again, you mentioned earlier about him learning to run the football. We know he needs to get inside the tackles. He always wants to bounce it outside, but there's a lot that goes into this. He was a rookie. This is a very complex offense that Sean's running. but he brought value in different areas that Denver really needed it. I'm not a fan of the screen game, and I'm hoping that Davis does this a little bit better selectively this upcoming season with what he has. And then on JK, I think I'm looking back to the usage that they used him at the beginning of last year was down. And I think they need to take that and just shrink it just a tad bit more. Look at the 15 to 20 touch range. And then as the season goes and progresses, you see how he's feeling, see how he's going. Everyone's going to have wear and tear. That's just the nature of the beast. But can you keep him in better position? So I look at the usage for JK to be very selective, probably the first half of the season.
Yeah, if anything, use that term from the NBA, workload, or
Yep.
rest day or something. Just give him a break. LeBron James him.
Give
him a game off or two. Not necessarily a game off, but maybe a drive off or two. One drive it can be Jonah.
Well, and now you have two young running backs, so there's no harm in keeping that touch to maybe 12 to 15 the first part of the season, and then you can work him up to 15 to 20. Now the days of JK getting 20 plus carries should be out the window. You have two very capable guys behind him, and we can still throw Jaleel McLaughlin in there, though I think he's kind of an afterthought if it kind of goes how we think it's going to go. But keep your guy healthy. We saw what he can do with Sean Payton's offense when he is healthy. Well, we got to keep him healthy. I'd rather have him in January and February than, September, October, November. Like, we can use this and we can be smart about it.
Absolutely. And, you talk about Jaleel McLaughlin, both him and Tyler Bidet, they're both, right there on the bubble, hovering right there. Maybe both, depending on who they choose to keep, neither of them might make this team. It all depends on how this team goes.
Yeah, that's going to be, I think that position as well as that receiver position for those two last spots, I think is going to be very big because that's pieces that you want depth there, right? We obviously know with JK, and then we know with Pat Bryant, are the concussions going to be an issue? Hopefully not, but you still got to make sure that you have those guys ready to go because you're not going to be able to put one of those receivers on the practice squad. They're going to get snatched up immediately. You may be able to get by with having Jaleel as a practice squad guy. That's kind of yet to be seen. So we'll kind of see how those two position battles kind of shake out for those last spots.
Absolutely. And, that kind of bleeds into one of my questions is who do you think in the West has the deepest or more just the best running back room right now? Charger fans are high on Hampton.
Yeah. And it comes down to JK, right? If JK could stay healthy, then you like Denver's depth because JK is not, it's the wild card. That's kind of the thing. I do like the Chargers running back room. I really do. I do like Hampton. I like the addition of Keaton Mitchell. We obviously saw what Kamani Vidal could do in the absence of Hampton last year. Look, it's a deep room, but at the end of the day, I would love to have Amari and Hampton. That's kind of the one that we go back to because that was in position for the Broncos to draft last season, right? But if you can guarantee me that I could get JK for the whole season without injury, yeah, I'd take Denver's. But with that being the wild card, I would take Amari and Hampton over RB2 that we have. So, yeah, right now I'm giving it to the Chargers.
All right. Until the Broncos could prove it is what you're probably saying, yeah, right?
Yes, because we saw what happened when JK went down. We had no running game. It was disgusting.
It's up to Jonah and RJ to be able to lift that room up if that happens.
Yes. And then K9. Oh, yeah. So look, I still do think he's a veteran, right? He's a smooth runner. We could see this. I think he can be, I do think even with limited touches, he could still get into a rhythm. I think he's one that you could also talk to, kind of give him the game plan going out. I mean, I know game plans will change, but I think even with limited carries, I think he understands that health matters more, and he matters more to the team deeper into the season.
Absolutely. And I'm not worried about necessarily the rhythm. I think it's just a matter of him knowing he's going to get his touches. I would love to see them use him more as bring him into the goal line, a little bit if they want to use Jonah more in the center of the field.
100%
specialty back a little bit more early on, and then work them up a little later. Maybe that might help. All right.
Yeah, I think the goal line is going to be kind of interesting too.
Who knows how that's going to go? Because you can go out the backfield passing. With RJ, you can just hand it to one of Jonah. Jonah can catch balls out the backfield too. That's why I'm high on him. And you can run it up the middle with one of those two guys, Jonah or JK. Who knows? It's really going to be interesting. That's a great thing to look out for. And then there's your boy, talking about K9, Emmett Johnson. Yeah.
Nope.
And then we got the legend, Mike. We appreciate you, Mike. You've had a busy week, man. Very busy week for Mike.
It is.
Interviews.
He's been killing it too.
Yeah, we all aspire to be him.
We do.
All right. Your next question. I want you to say something, one of your favorite things about each one of your co-hosts, something kind, something you love about them, something that maybe will make them feel kind of feel themselves a little bit, but something is true still, something that you truly love or respect about your co-hosts.
Yeah, look, man, this show's not possible without the co-hosts. Like, it was kind of my idea to put this together, but without those guys, this isn't possible. Cody and Matt have been our day ones. Like, that's kind of who we started this with. It just started as we each went on each other's kind of podcast, and then we kind of took off from there. And then Ethan, who's joined us here over the summer, since Ethan's joined us. Yeah, Ethan's been kind of a godsend to us, man. What he's been able to do for us on the editing side, kind of showed us some cooler, more up to date, because our stuff was just not clean, not kind of in tune. And then insert Ethan to the channel, and it's kind of been taking off since then. So these are my guys. Like, there's no war room without these guys and what they've been able to do. They're basically family to me. They know this. I see how much they're like. I can see my phone lighting up during shows because I know that they're working on stuff, and we have a big week coming up for our shows. So I know they're working hard behind the scenes, and the grind. We work full-time jobs. This is kind of a side thing for us that we're trying to turn into a full-time thing. And with those guys, and then obviously my brother, who's the Chiefs fan. Yeah, he's it's fun to be able to do this, because he and I started a podcast, the Shovik Sports side of it. First, we just got bored, and so we wanted to do a podcast. And then I was like, I want it bigger. There's something bigger that we can do, and the War Room was born. So, yeah, man, I could sit here all night and just say nice things about my co-hosts. But at the same time, it's kind of like, well, what do I don't like about them? Well, I don't like their teams and what they root for, but that is what it is. But yeah, I love those guys.
That's awesome. That's what we love to hear. I hope that, they send you some messages later to tell you how much they love you. That's awesome.
You're probably going to be on their good side too for making me. They're like, hey, hell yeah, he's asking them he's making them say something nice. And yeah, Matt,
absolutely, Matt.
Matt's also the Broncos fan too. I can't say enough about Matt. Matt means everything to us, everything to our show. He is serving in the Navy. He's deployed right now. So he knows. We get a chance to talk to him every so often, but Matt's definitely been a day one of the War Room. Even before the War Room, Matt was a day one with us. So we do love Matt, and we wish him nothing but the best, and hopefully come home safely.
Absolutely. A shout out to Matt. And then, again, you don't get by without a little help from your friends. And I'm learning that, because of all the people that have helped me out, resharing my stuff, helping me, get better, giving me tips, and, people that have been kind enough to come on the interviews and do shows. It's been awesome. Like this is awesome, because there's some great AFC West talk that I can get from you, so that's awesome. You don't get by in life without your friends. That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's channels helping channels, man. Like, I see what you're doing. I respect what you're doing. I love how you're doing it, and I love how you're going about it. Not to take digs at other shows, but like, not everyone's doing it the correct way. We do pay attention. I know everyone seems to think that the War Room's bigger than we really are, but we're not quite there. But we do recognize what people are doing, and we try to help out as much as we can, because we know there's a lot of people that are doing the same for us. So you keep doing what you're doing, man. We respect the hell out of you and what you're doing. So we do appreciate you.
I appreciate that, man. Again, the words of support means the world to me. I like to blame Mike because there was a period when I created this channel where I had just like made the channels, but I never done anything, never went live, nothing, no videos, nothing, just a few little shorts. And I could have maybe just backed out of it. And then Mike kind of just, started actually supporting me so much. I'm like, man, how dare you? Now I actually have to commit to this. And it's been awesome.
That's why we love Mike. We had a chance to have him on our show, and he absolutely just killed it. So loved it.
Absolutely. Mike's awesome. And, there's so many people that's been helpful to me all across, just people that I've looked up to have given me, words of encouragement or have helped me or, like Dak from Orange and Blue, had me on Broncos Bros. That was my first time on someone else's show. And that was just awesome because I didn't have to produce a thing. I could just sit there. That was the best part of it. In all reality, I got love for everyone like at Orange and Blue, for you guys at West War Room Rivals. I got love for everyone that's been kind and supportive, and it's just awesome. So this community is awesome. It's not competitive, it's supportive.
Yes, and that's what I want. I'm not trying to compete. We're not trying to compete. We're trying to help each other out. Mike, Mario was on our show. Mario was one of the first guests we had last year. Mario's fantastic. Dak and those guys. I love hopping onto those guys and watching Dak and those guys absolutely crushing it. So, man, I love Broncos country. Like, we have a great group of fans and a great group of content creators that are just absolutely crushing it right now, and I love seeing it all.
To this comment from your brother Austin, I will say I was at the Broncos Raiders, and I'm going to be at the Broncos Raider game here in Vegas, but I was at it last year, and I was at the Broncos Raiders in Denver last year, and both games Raider fans were talking about how disappointed they are that they can't talk shit about Broncos fans because they're too nice. There was one or two Raider fans in the crowds trying to throw some birds, start some stuff, and they weren't getting responses, and they're honestly they're too kind, they're too nice. I don't know why. Maybe it's something in the air.
Yeah, we had someone pop on our chat the other night and said that our show was too nice, and it's just like, look, we have the moments. There's still off season, like there's still things to go, but there's no better compliment than being able to have visiting fan bases come to your games and compliment how well this fan base is. That's top tier. Keep going, Broncos country. You guys are killing it.
Yeah, Broncos country is amazing. The fans, the media, the players, everyone's so kind. It's just truly one of a kind. And that's one thing I love that I think truly separates the fan base from some other bases is you're never going to find that hospitality and that kindness anywhere.
And I've been to plenty of Chiefs games. And my 99% of my family's Chiefs fans, so most of them are okay. But there's some Chiefs fans out there that's kind of makes the game not enjoyable at times. But I do love the tailgating most of the time. But it gets a little rowdy out there in Kansas City.
Oh man, I gotta catch one of those games. I'm gonna be catching Kansas City and Denver this year, so those are my two games this year. Is Broncos Raiders here in Vegas, Broncos Kansas City and Denver.
That will be some of the best tailgating you've probably experienced. I will say Kansas City knows how to do it.
Man, that's going to have to be on my list is make a Kansas City game in KC because I'm just going back to Denver again this year, but I'll have to put Kansas City on my list at least before they make the move, right, to the new stadium.
Yeah, we got I think 2031. So we got a few years. I think they're getting ready. Everything's kind of in place. But
same with the Broncos timeline, ideally.
And I'm excited to see what this is going to end up being. This is very exciting news.
I was just down there, obviously in Denver in November, and to just check out that area. Like you could walk from Ball Arena to Mile High, just walk on the river. The river walk is so beautiful. It's so kind and just like it's a different kind of atmosphere to go from one sports venue to walk by a river and just walk right to another in less than a mile, and it's still going to be just about a mile in the other direction. So that whole river walk, they're trying to redevelop it, like the whole the Cronkies, they have a big chunk of it right there by Ball Arena. They're trying to redevelop that whole area. It's going to turn into like a mini city inside the city. It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be fantastic for the city of Denver, and I'm very, very excited for that.
Let's talk defense. Red Murdoch season incoming. Well, if Red Murdoch season's incoming, something's happened to Sternad and Alex Singleton. Maybe for the good, but most likely probably not for the good if that's the case.
Yeah, and I don't remember when. I know here recently I had made a comment of you're Alex Singleton, Justin Sternad injury away from having a real big problem.
Hmm.
And that's kind of why I was a little disappointed in the lack of, maybe urgency of finding a linebacker, an extra linebacker, even if that meant keeping Dre Greenlaw around one more season. But yeah, we're an Alex Singleton or Justin Sternad injury away from, this could be an issue, and I'm hoping not. And again, Red Murdoch, Terry York. I mean, there's guys there, but do you trust them
Amazing
already
prospects.
more than? Yeah, that's all they are. They're prospects, and you can't trust that right away, especially in this division and the teams that we're getting ready to play this upcoming season. I'm not willing to risk that right now.
Absolutely. I'm excited for Red. I'm really disappointed when the news came out that we weren't going to have a joint practice. That really disappointed me because I wanted to see the Red Murdoch fight in camp because it was going to happen, especially against, whether it's the Cardinals or something. It's just going to be we would have saw it coming, but because they took that away from us, it's not going to happen. No, Red Murdoch fights in camp. But poor Michael Bandy. Not Michael Bandy. Was it Michael Bandy?
I think it was.
It was. Yeah.
Maybe. There was a couple of the younger guys that tried to. It was the Rams, right? It was either the Rams or there was Cowboys, maybe the Cowboys too. I don't remember which ones those were, but yeah, hey, look, you're going to have to find a different way to set the tone in training camp.
Yeah, no, there's not going to be Red Murdoch's going to probably, I just wanted the joint practice so you're fighting someone else and not fighting your own guys. That's all I wanted. Because that always makes for some fun news, but not when it's, your own guys fighting.
Yeah,
so we'll probably still see it.
You'll see some chippiness. That just happens. That's just the nature of training camp. It's hot. Guys are fighting this is their livelihood. This is their careers. There's money on the line for these guys. This is their living. So
Murdoch has one speed only.
And that we are going to love this speed. He's going to end up being a special teams gem for us. And, hopefully it gets to the point where he's forcing the coaches to take him off the field because they have to find a place for him on the field. So that's not a bad thing.
See, I want to think about the over-under on maybe 1-2 Red Murdoch special teams forced fumbles this year. Over-under one of them, 1.5.
I'm going to go with 3.
Okay. Yeah, because it's there. We know that if he gets running downhill, that's terrifying to be on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Whose name will surprise you on your defense? For me, I think it's going to be Justin Sternad. I think this is going to be what really helps you this year is that Sternad with a full year of starting experience. And we already saw a little bit of it last year. I think that with a full year, I think he can take that step up. I think he can be your true number one. I mean, he's a good linebacker. Alex is a good linebacker, but no matter what, you look at the linebacker rankings around the league, and Sternad's not touching that top 10 range, but I think he makes his name known this year. I think he's going to really step up. I was big on Sternad when we drafted him, and I've just loved his development. Some guys, you want to see them go on special teams, develop after a year or two into that starter. And then he got the chance last year. And he even wore the green dot for a little bit last year as well. So I think he has a chance to really take that step up and be a Pro Bowl, all-pro defender. What do you think, Cory? Who do you got on defense?
Yeah, to add to Justin Sternad, if you look at the metrics, he actually was really good last year, especially in some of those Vance Joseph scheme blitz. Mm-hmm. He was one of the fastest ones to the quarterback on blitzes, and that's
sacks, 4 or 5.
Correct, and that's a good thing, right? Because obviously Alex Singleton's he's not the speed rusher. Alex Singleton can get the blitz there, but Justin Sternad is the speedster, and that's what makes him so good in this defense. I'll give you 2 names, and I mentioned those on our show last week. It's going to be Savion Jones and Q Robinson. Especially, I'm assuming we're going to have Jonathan Cooper this season, but we'll wait and see how that plays out. But you lose John Franklin Myers, you're going to have some bodies step up for said loss. And I like Savion Jones. I think Vance Joseph is very high on him. So Savion Jones and Q Robinson are 2 names.
Mike says you're obviously the star of the war room.
That's the best compliment I could ever receive. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Take that, Cody, Ethan, Austin.
And then there will probably be, there will probably be more fights among the team than on joint practice. That's why I wanted a joint practice, because at least, Red can lay the hammer on an opposing team's running back or something, instead of it being, poor Michael Bandy or, Jaleel McLaughlin. Who knows who it's going to be? Someone's going to catch that.
Yeah, and I don't remember if it was last offseason or offseason before, where Sean Payton actually talked about the fights in the practices. He's not a fan of it. This could cost some of those younger guys, spots. And your head coach runs a tight ship. We know how Sean Payton can run training camp. And I think this is part of the reason why he doesn't want joint practices. One, you have a new offensive coordinator, so you're not trying to show anything to those guys. Two, you're not trying to get in any fights because we are thin in certain positions and you're not really willing to risk some of these said issues. So again, the guys know what Sean Payton's about. These guys know what Sean Payton's about, and they're very much aware how much this is going to be a very grueling training camp for these guys.
See, there we are, our friendly banter in the chat. That's how it is being in the AFC West. You catch strays, but at the same time, some of these strays are friendly too. So it's friendly. Some of them are hostile. Either way, you catch them all, and they're awesome.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. So we got one question and right here. So I want who wins the West, and then give me your division rankings. How do you think this will pan out at the end?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question, right? Like this is, but I love this one because we finally are in a position now where we're not talking about is Denver going to be a surprise team. No, we're talking about Denver being a legitimate contender. So this is fun for us. We love being back into this position, right? So I'm still sticking with. I love Denver to win this division. I love Denver to win the West, and I have the Chargers very close behind. Look, they're two best offensive linemen were hurt last season, right? They're piecing together an offensive line. This would not surprise me if this was the year. This Chargers seems a little dangerous, but I'm still taking the Broncos over them. So give me Broncos, and then we're going to go Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders.
That's exactly what I have. I see the Raiders being dangerous in year two. Everyone said that about Sean Payton in year two, which made sense too. I think the Raiders did everything they needed to build a foundation. We'll just see if it holds the weight these next years or 1 or 2 years. We'll see if the foundation holds the weight, and if Fernando can be what you want. I like the addition, at center. I love, trying to do more. You already have probably the best tight end, one of the best tight ends in the game, right next to Trey McBride, in my opinion. So, I love what they have done. I think they set a foundation for sure. I'm excited. Honestly excited, just because I love the Kubiaks, and it pains me. It really pains me. But that's what genuinely scares me. If there's anything on that team that scares me, it's that I think that a Kubiak is going to fix that team. And maybe it will go the route that it has gone with a previous Broncos coach who, at one point, was the coach of the Raiders, and Mike Shanahan. Maybe he'll go that route where it just doesn't work out, and eventually he leaves. I don't think that's the case. I'm really terrified that, they actually got the guy at head coach finally.
I mean, we can try to start talking this into existence, right? Give Sean, 3, maybe 4 more years. And then maybe
Davis will be gone. I think
maybe
Davis
young
will be gone by then.
Yeah, I think so too. And then we can talk about maybe young Clint coming into Denver and resurrecting like Mike Shanahan was able to do when he came over. So, I mean,
Mike Shanahan just couldn't get along without Davis. And who's to say that, this isn't the same, with Clint Kubiak and, the Davis son right over there,
Yeah, as much as I would love to see Davis Webb succeed and maybe be a head coach and maybe even be Denver's head coach, I think that ship kind of sailed once Sean signed this extension this last offseason. Davis Webb goes out and does what I think he's going to do this season. He's going to be a very hot name, same as Mike McDaniel in Los Angeles. I mean, we could have 2 offensive coordinators and maybe even a defense coordinator in Vance Joseph finally, who should have had a job 2-3 years ago, in my opinion, thank you for continuing to let him stay in Denver, but it's an absolute joke that Vance hasn't got a job yet.
They're going to take their rings and they're just going to go off to their head coaching jobs, wherever it may be.
100%.
It just feels fitting. And then there's something about like these last few years, some of us as Broncos fans will call us delusional. Maybe we're getting a little too personal to say that we think this is our year. Everyone says this is our year. Raider fans say this is their year every year. So anyone's allowed to say that. But I would say that if anything has ever felt more real, like this is our year, it feels like it's this year. And that's just our gut feelings as Broncos fans. But it really, on paper, does not look like it's too far-fetched either. So that's why it feels really, really possible.
You have core pieces in the correct positions.
Mm-hmm.
You have head coach, you have GM, you have ownership. Ownership's behind this team 100%. This team can get whatever it wants. We've seen that. They're getting a brand new training facility that's getting, if open or is getting ready to open. They're getting the new stadium. They've upgraded so many different things already. They replaced the turf for these players throughout the season. Ownership's bought in. Now players are buying into head coach. Yeah, man, this, again, maybe it's because we had to suffer through the 10 years without Peyton Manning and kind of the circus that was, but you have everything in place, guys. Like, this is a time to be excited.
Absolutely. I'm curious how that relationship with Mike McDaniels and Jim Harbaugh is really going to pan out long term, because it looks all fun and cute, like, the old tough serious man's, letting this young serious dorky guy in. It looks all fun and dandy, but I just wonder if at one point, does he get annoyed by this guy? Do they get along? I just want to know that personal dynamic in that room, because some people who know about Jim Harbaugh know that sometimes he's got a short fuse. You get his best, and then he burns out fast. With some of his stints, like in San Fran and stuff, hot and then just burns off fast. I just worry about that relationship long term. Maybe it works this year. I don't know if it works after a year. Like, if it doesn't work this year, do you think that Jim's just like, let me take this back after, if it's another year of just the same results, is he going to feel like we got to do something else? Mike McDaniels is not doing it.
That's a good question. And just two weird guys to talk to in general, right? Like, do you see their press conferences? It's just one of those. So it's like, is this really going to work? Is this really a thing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Part of me says it's going to, just because Justin Herbert, and again, this franchise needs Justin Herbert to be good, right? And I still think that they're going to get rid of the head. They'll get rid of the head coach, I think, before they would get rid of Justin Herbert. They'll give Justin Herbert one more to go around, and we'll see. But this is two very different personalities that are going to be clashing. And is it going to be good the first part? Maybe, but let's see what happens if adversity strikes. And is Mike going to run the football as much as Jim wants him to, or if the offense is going a little stagnant, what is he going to do as the head coach? So it's just a little bit of things to work on and look forward to, or look into as the season progresses. But as I sit here today, as we're getting into training camp, I think it's going to be a good relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And to answer this question from Austin, I would say it would be Chris Jones in a heartbeat. Some people like to throw out that narrative that Chris Jones, when things aren't going his way, he can be a quitter, or I would take Chris Jones in a heartbeat. Fill that spot right next to Zach Allen. That just sounds terrifying. That's what I would do in a heartbeat.
I wanted Nick Bolton last year. I wanted, when he was hitting free agency, I really thought Nick Bolton would fit in. Yeah, that linebacker. Look, I love Chris Jones, but I think the position there was good. So we need a linebacker. Creed Humphrey. I mean, look, Wattenberg's serviceable. He's serviceable. You could look at Forsyth.
Another year to get more comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm not going to waste it on Creed. I love Creed Humphrey. Don't get me wrong. He's by far the best center in the NFL, but I would think of other positions that we would actually need that's not a center.
Yeah. See, I'm just all about like lock and load for this present year, and then to me, just adding a wrecking ball right next, like because we hear these rumors. It sounds like that Aaron Donald is in the building in LA or talking, and this just sounds terrifying for offensive lines around the league to hear these talks. And I would love to pair a Chris Jones next to a Zach Allen, because what are those guards and centers going to do, especially when you got Nick Benito out there, whether it's Cooper out there or if it's Ellis or Q Robinson, there's pressure coming.
Yeah, and we know the Chiefs don't have the pass rush, so we're not going to look at the pass rush there. Chris Jones kind of is their pass rush. And we don't need anybody from their secondary. Our secondary is far and above and beyond Kansas City's secondary. So yeah,
the Rams took their secondary already before we had a choice.
Yeah, so we'll actually get to face that secondary basically early on in the season too, when the Rams come out to Denver. So we'll see a lot of the former Chiefs there.
I love the matchup with Cortland and McDuffie.
I tried telling everybody. Everyone kept trying to say McDuffie's superior. Cortland Sutton's not a speedster at all by any means, and he was absolutely roasting McDuffie off the line. So, I mean, is he really worth what they gave him? I mean, maybe in their eyes he is, but I'm just sitting there like, Cortland Sutton's not very fast. He's not, that's just different to me. So, but hey, hats off to the Rams. I mean, they see their Super Bowl window. They're absolutely 100% bought in. So good luck to them.
Absolutely. Show Noah Williams some respect.
He wouldn't start on Denver.
Probably not. This team's so deep in so many positions. You can argue that I'm sure you guys have done a show. Have you gone position by position throughout the?
We're getting ready to do secondary this week.
Yeah, so I'm sure that Denver is leading in a lot of those conversations, right? Because they're just deep in most of these positions. Not all of them. Like tight end, they're weak. Maybe inside linebacker, they're weak. But I argue that probably in most of the other ones, they're pretty strong throughout the board.
Yeah, and obviously the quarterback, right? Like we had the honest conversation there that he's not there yet. He's getting there. He's working his way there. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's been Denver, or the Chargers had a couple too. I mean, we talked about the Chargers offensive line,
running back,
when healthy, running backs. So we'll see. We'll see what the secondary brings this week when we talk about the secondary. But obviously, we know where I'm leaning as far as secondary. I love Denver's secondary. I really do.
While I still got you, I don't know how long I got you, but I want to ask you about the secondary real quick with, Brandon Jones on an extent. This is his last year of the contract. Do you think he's going to get an extension? And if he doesn't, or how you feel about the safety depth right now? I was actually excited about, the Miles Scott pick. I think that it's a shot, with the kind of pick that it is, but I love that they at least addressed the room because they didn't even do much more. Like they addressed the room with inside linebacker, but you would have preferred that have been a vet instead of a rookie. Mm-hmm. Whereas in this case, with safety, maybe it's all right if it was a rookie. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, and we also picked up Tyson Anderson. He's a special teams guy he played in Cincinnati. He's a stud special teamer, but he can play. Mm-hmm. He's gotten some run on the field. It's not just special teams.
Maybe a pick or two in the last year or two.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily think signing him is kind of, the tell of what happens with Brandon Jones. To me, 100%, I would, again, you can't keep everybody. And we have to understand that there's that big contract that's going to be looming after this season. And that's Bo Nick's contract, right? Like you're going to have to pay Bo, mm-hmm. right? So again, as much as I would love to keep this defense together and I'd love to keep the band together, it's not going to work out this way. Now, one thing that we could possibly look at is Brandon Jones goes, do we go ahead and re-sign J-Mac, and is Jahdae Barron a possibility at safety? Maybe. I mean, I don't know, but
I love the Barron talk. I'm all for the Barron talk because I think that if you can't get him on the field as a corner, get him out there any way you can. Whether it's relief safety, whether you throw him out there in the dime, whether you want to use him as and I had this talk with Jay, and I said that if you are not feeling confident with how, like, let's say you start a game and Singleton's getting cooked or one of your inside backers are getting cooked, why don't you just pull him out and send out Barron out there? Because Barron had a pick against the Cowboys covering a linebacker last year, and I'm pretty certain that it was against the Chiefs where he had a pick six called back while covering Kelsey. So I think he could be your sort of fix, or at least some backup at inside linebacker. Or like you said, I just love the idea of utilizing him more because that's what they used him for at Texas. And I'm starting to worry that if you peg him in the one position, that's going to ruin it. So maybe you're best letting him be flexible.
Yes, and we can also talk about the next contract that could be very, very, it's out. I mean, the elephant in the room is Riley Moss. Mm-hmm. I was not a big fan of Riley Moss going into last season, and then Riley Moss slowly won me over. I love the idea, but you can't re-sign Riley Moss and J-Mac. That's a lot of money going into that secondary, that cornerback room with PS2 and what he's doing. So now you're going to have to start looking forward to what can they possibly do free agency. What's the draft look like? It's corner position. Can you get a corner that you're comfortable enough to slide in, or are you more? Is there a safety that maybe you can look to possibly put in over Brandon Jones? So, I mean, you're going to have to look at all avenues of this. I'd be very surprised if they end up re-signing all three of those guys. That just doesn't seem feasible to me.
No, I really I love Brandon Jones. I just think that he's gone. I think he's going to have a great year too. I truly think he's in for a great year. Just like I think we can expect, Talanoa to have a better year in terms of trying to catch some of these balls. He was coming off
the dang ball.
Yeah, he had so many picks just right there, and he couldn't come down with it. And he was coming off a year with the club and stuff, so it was weird for him for sure. But I think that he's going to have a better year when it comes to catching. But also, I think that Brandon Jones is great. I just don't think we're going to be able to afford the man while trying to afford one of those two corners. And I don't think you're getting both of those corners. So I already think that you're losing BJ no matter what. So I think, and then it's a pick of those two corners. I don't think you get your option of keeping both. With Bo coming up, you don't get to keep both, I think. So I think that, in my opinion, it's up to you who you choose. And I want to know who you pick between Moss and J-Mac, because I'm in the J-Mac camp solely for the fact that I believe you already have the best boundary outside corner in the game. And J-Mac is the best slot in the game. If you look up his sacks, he's got sacks and interceptions and forced fumbles that those stats line up with top safeties in the league. So he's not a safety, but he's bringing up some crazy stats from that slot position. He's excelling in some of the stat positions compared to some of these other guys, some of these other slot corners.
Correct. And now you can take everything I just said about Brandon Jones with Jedi Barron, and you can insert that for if Riley Moss were to also leave. You could then put Jedi Barron out there. You got Chris Abrams-Drain, who's still going to be under contract for a couple more seasons, who's shown signs. You do everything you possibly can to keep J-Mac. I wanted J-Mac re-signed at the end of the last season. I wanted J-Mac re-signed during free agency. I wanted J-Mac re-signed. He is my priority. You've got to do everything you can to keep J-Mac. Keep PS2, J-Mac, and then you can plug in these guys and you can find somebody else on the outside to cover. You got to keep J-Mac.
Absolutely. I'm excited for J-Mac too, because to me, it makes sense. Keep your best outside corner and then just keep the best slot corner in the game. It's like keeping Aqib and keeping Chris Harris and just rolling with whoever it is on the outside, no matter who it is, whether it's Bradley Roby, whether it's someone else.
100% agree with that. Weatherspoon is number one slot corner. I mean, we're not sitting here saying J-Mac's the best in the NFL, but he's one of those where you pay him because he is one of the better ones.
I think J-Mac's production, if you look at the stats, puts him there. But I mean, I may be biased, but I think Weatherspoon that discussion's easily right there. You could swap them out if you want, and there probably isn't much of a loss for either team if they were to swap them.
100% agree. Yes,
absolutely. How long do you think I got you, man?
I give you a couple more minutes, man. If you got one more or two more questions, I can give you a little bit longer.
All right. If anyone's got any questions, this is your chance to get them in. We're going to let Cory go in a few minutes. So if you got a question or two, drop them in while we got them. I appreciate you coming here, man.
Yeah, no, hey, look, I do appreciate it. I appreciate your interaction with our show and our channel when we're going live. This, again, we love what you're doing as well. We see what you're doing with this channel. Just keep working, keep grinding. It's a process. I mean, you're getting some really good content creators on with you, and it's a good start, right? Like now you just keep going, because there's gonna be times. I mean, there's been times where I'm just like, is this show really worth like what we're doing? And then, something happens and it's just like, it makes you realize that you're doing it for the right reasons. And I see that with your show. So please continue to do what you do and represent Broncos country.
And Cory, how do you not punch your brother on the show? That's a good question.
I grew up with him telling on me all the time. So it's probably in the back of my mind that our mom watches our show all the time too. So I'm sure I'd probably have to hear about it. So yeah, man, I have to restrain sometimes.
Absolutely. It's amazing. The mothers are always in everyone's shows. They're always watching. My mother's in my show. She's always watching everyone's shows too.
It's great. It's fun. It's, my mom loves to interact on our show too. So she's always dropping comments, always doing something. And there's times where I see her trying to get into it with people in the chat. And I'm like, got to calm down a little bit.
Absolutely. Let's ask the tough question to end. Why can the Chargers never win a Super Bowl or a playoff game? Is it the whole Charger narrative? Is that like, do they run out of battery? Is that the issue? They've always ran out of battery. What is it?
Yeah. I mean, look, there's
got to be a reason to it because they never get it done.
It should be studied because, they had Hall of Fame quarterback Phillip Rivers who just couldn't do it with LaDainian Tomlinson and Antonio Gates. They had, Quentin Jammer, Camardi. Yeah, I don't know. I truly don't know. It's baffling to me. I don't ever want that I don't want the Broncos to ever have to do that.
Martin says, I don't know that Chiefs banner, how that Chiefs banner stays on the wall because the first time I run out of TV, it's getting used. It's because we're respectful of other people's things, but I understand.
We try. Look, I mean, I have my Demaryius Thomas plaque right here next to the Broncos flag.
Broncos flag right there.
He's got the Chiefs thing here, and then he has the the Mahomes Kelsey thing here and there. So we try to balance it. And then we have obviously we're from KU. So we try to balance it out as best as we can, but everything stays strictly down here for the show. Like everything else, it's just for the show. So, if we ever needed toilet paper, it obviously would be the first thing.
Yeah, or it's like there's no power, no electricity, and we have to start fires. We know where to start.
We do. There's lots of it.
And if not, that's when Mike will get to see that happen. He'll probably see that happen when that happens.
Yeah, that's right. We have the Dick Vermeil wine right here that was gifted to us along with the Dick Vermeil cards. So again,
that Dick Vermeil interview is awesome.
It's still weird to us because we're going back through and we're looking over some of the clips of the interview that we had with Coach. And we still say it all the time that it's still crazy that we got a chance to talk to Coach Vermeil twice. And the things that man can remember after all these years, he knows every single assistant coach he ever had, every single player. He's telling us about all the players that he's in group text with. So he's talking, I just texted Ron Jaworski, or I was just talking to, Willie Roaf. And I love Coach Vermeil and really, really hoping to get him back on. So he's genuine and he's great.
It's awesome because you never know who will get these interviews with different people out there. Like you guys with the Dick Vermeil interviews are great. There's my mother right there.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my mom right there. But like Broncos Europe. I don't know if you know Broncos Europe. They had an interview last year with Damani Leach, team president.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like you never know who's gonna get like an interview, and that's the thing about like this industry. Sometimes you got to hustle for this stuff. You got to really put your name out there. Just ask, and whether someone sees it or answers, or they never see it or answer, at least you tried.
Yeah, that's Austin and Matt for our show. Those guys are countless rejections, and the one or two, and Austin and I just literally talked about that this morning before we were golfing. The absolute small percentage of people who do respond. So everyone always asks us how we you never know. Shoot your shot. The worst they can say is no, or the worst they can do is not respond. It's not, at the end of the day, it's not going to matter, right? you keep pushing forward, then you're going to land an interview with you. We had Garrett Bowles, we had Chris Harris, we've had Sylvester Williams. Like, you just got to keep going. And at some point, someone's going to see your stuff, and they're going to give you that chance. And even if it is for 10 minutes, you take it and run.
Absolutely. You know, I was at when the SAC Summit was happening, and when UFC 329 was happening. I went down to the Cosmopolitan where the SAC Summit was, and I was just scanning, looking. As close as I got was the reception, where there was a sign that said SAC Summit reception. And I kept my eye out. I could have swore, I think Gerald McCoy might have walked by me, but I just couldn't tell because it's so many tourists, and the guys wearing sunglasses and a bucket hat. I'm like, I can't quite tell. So I'm not going to go just like come up and bump and touch a man and ask him for an interview.
Yeah, there's boundaries to it, right? Like, you don't want to, you would love to, at the end of the day, you would love to be able to walk up and say, Gerald, we'd love to have you on. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like, they're still humans. They're still humans, like, just like we're still humans. And we're not the only ones reaching out to people that are trying to get them to come on our show. They get hit up by countless people and whatnot. So yeah, you never know. Just you reach out, try and go.
Absolutely. Mike is the biggest star. Mike was on my my first 2 24-hour streams, so awesome for that. Mike already knows he's welcome on if he can stay up that late, and if he stays up that late, like Mario said on our last interview, if Mario comes on that late, he's going to need a Four Loko or two. Mike may need a cocktail or two.
Yeah, that 4:30 wake up call that I have. I don't know if I could do the 24-hour thing. Maybe like 10 years ago I might have, but now it's tough doing our hour 15 that we do. And it's just kind of like, man, because we have 2 of our co-hosts who are out in California. So we're trying to accommodate their time, which we would do in a heartbeat all over again. We adjust times to help those guys out. But 24 hours, Cody, that's, man, keep doing it, man. This is big time.
It's only doable because of how my days off are working and because it's the off season. If this was not the off season, I couldn't make it work. But because I have plans to this is going to be my final weird week with there's not going to be a proper schedule. Everything's all weird just because 24 hours throws things off doing one of those kind of shows. But so we're going to get into our routine of Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Hopefully 1:30 a.m. Mountain Time is when we're going to try to do our late shows. Hey, great to see you, man. I appreciate you, Chris. Nice. That's my coworker.
Nice. I
appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
We're going to get into our routines of doing our late shows. And then besides that, we're going to be doing our weekends. That's why we have Saturday, Sunday, Mondays off. So we can do watch-alongs for Broncos games, and then Sunday night prime time, Monday night prime time. And then whatever's happening on Saturdays, I got 2 college football games that I'm going to go to for content. So UNLV versus Memphis, UNLV versus Nevada. So Battle of Nevada. That's going to be fun. Here for me as a Vegas local who grew up watching shitty UNLV football. It's going to be kind of cool because they've gotten a lot better recently. UNLV in the Mountain West. People want to neglect the Mountain West, man.
I mean, KU football. I love college football. It's one of my favorites. But growing up watching KU football, I was very fortunate in Chris Harris, Keith Talib, all those guys. So, I love college football, but it sucks because my team's not ever usually very good, but I'll watch any game. Yeah.
So I try to use Saturdays if I'm not going to do if I'm not going to go out to a physical sporting event and get content out of that, I'm just going to stay home and do a watch along, whether it's college football or if it's UFC. I've done 2 UFC watch alongs already. So those were fun.
Heck yeah.
David talks Broncos. I'm sure know him.
Yep.
Yeah, man, guy's a big UFC fan. He popped in both of those chats, and it was just all UFC chat in the comments. I'm like, man, the guy's a real ball knower. He's watched The Ultimate Fighter growing up, just like I did. So that's awesome.
That's fantastic. I don't watch as much UFC as I used to. I need to get back into doing that.
I like to say, because I love combat sports. When it comes to sports coverage, I love the Broncos, but combat sports is something that I love right outside of it. And I think that in terms of boxing or in terms of MMA, they just don't treat the stars well or promote fights well. They don't do matchmaking well like it used to be 10, 15 years ago. So it's just hard to get more people interested.
100%.
All right, man. If you are ready to head out of here, I just want to say thank you so much. Let's pull this up one more time, and then again, remind them where they can find you.
Yeah, as right there on YouTube, West War Room Rivals. We're on X, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook as well. Facebook's actually been a weird kind of hit for us recently. So
Nice.
if we knew that, we'd have started posting on Facebook a little bit more. But yeah, so YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X. You guys find us, subscribe. Let us know you subscribed. Hopefully, we'll get some giveaways here before the start of the season. Again, we're pushing for this 1K. 650 was our goal by the end of the month, but now we kind of have our sights set on we want 1K by the end of the year. So if we can get to 1K by the end of the year, we're going to be doing some massive giveaways. Again, Cody, I appreciate everything you're doing for us as well. And again, anything we can do to help you out, you please let us know, and we'll happy to help.
Hey man, you guys are all welcome on. Any of you, just shoot me a message. You guys are always welcome on. And then if there's anything I can do, I got you guys. Thank you so much for coming on and being the first guest of this 24-hour stream, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We'll work with you throughout the season, man. I look forward to it.
Yeah, man. You guys, if any of you guys choose to stay up late at night, I know you guys are all on different times, so we'll make it work or whatever. If not, there's always the option. I let everyone know, because I just got a big interview actually from a pretty big person in Broncos media, but it's going to have to be a pre-recorded one that I'm going to air late at night before the season. And not sure when it's going to happen, but a little hint may be that this guy's on vacation right now, but he's big in Broncos media. But I got a nice little interview lined up for him. But how some of this is going to have to go sometimes is that we do pre-record some of this stuff, and that's fine with me too. I make myself ready for everyone else.
Always have to.
Awesome. Hey, you have a great night, man. Thank you so much, Cory. You're awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. All right, guys. So that was Cory, West War Room Rivals. Go subscribe. If you want some great AFC West, banter, discussion, they got it all over there. It's awesome. We love what they're doing over there. We're going to pull it up big real quick right there. Got you 2 subs. Glad we could send 1 or 2. My mom subscribed. Glad some other people could subscribe. Right now, Chris subscribed.